My mother always wanted a son. She finally became pregnant and began taking various sex-changing drugs and herbs of dubious origin, firmly believing that these drugs could turn the fetus into a boy. In my past life, I begged her to stop. I showed her science books, pleaded with her to be healthy. She listened, stopped the crazy remedies, and gave birth to a healthy baby girl. My family blamed me. They claimed my interference turned the brother into a sister. They said I was responsible for her. I loved my little sister and took care of her tirelessly, but she grew up hating me, blaming me for her gender because the guy she liked was gay. In a fit of rage, she hacked me to death with a kitchen knife. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the moment my mother announced her pregnancy. This time, I'll give them exactly what they want. Penny, I'm pregnant. Do you want a little brother or a little sister? When I heard my mom say those words, I realized I had been reborn. I flashed a huge smile. Of course I want a brother. Otherwise, who will carry on the family name? Mom, Dad, and Grandma treat you so well, you can't let the family line end with you. My dad and Grandma immediately shot me approving looks. My mom's smile froze for a second before she forced it back. Penny, how can you say that? A sister would be just as sweet and well-behaved as you. In my last life, when I honestly said I wanted a sister, she went crying to Dad and Grandma, claiming I cursed her to have a girl because I was afraid a brother would steal my inheritance. Dad beat me black and blue for that. What's good about a girl? If you don't give me a brother, who's going to have my back? When I make money, am I supposed to give it to outsiders? I said with righteous conviction. Grandma beamed, grabbing my hand. Our Penny has grown up. She finally understands. I hugged Grandma affectionately. Grandma, it's all thanks to my little brother. Just the thought of him makes me sensible. He's going to be the pillar of this family. In the past, whenever Dad and Grandma bullied Mom, she would just cry. I'd rush to defend her, only for her to turn around, play peacemaker, and join them in scolding me for being disrespectful. I took countless beatings for her. Never again. Mom's face turned pale, and she looked like she might faint. Soon enough, Grandma found some gender-swapping pills for Mom. Even though it's probably a boy, we can't leave it to chance. I spent a fortune on these pills. The seller guaranteed it'll be a boy if you finish the course. Grandma handed the bottle to Mom. Mom looked at me. I focused on mopping the floor, pretending not to see a thing. She had no choice but to take them. Grandma, I heard pregnancy makes you forgetful. Maybe you should keep the pills and give them to Mom every day. This is about my little brother. We can't risk any mistakes, I suggested. You love taking them? Eat up. Grandma nodded vigorously. Right. Penny is so smart. All that schooling wasn't for nothing. I gave Grandma a sweet smile. That night, while Dad was working the night shift, Mom pulled me into the master bedroom. Penny, I don't want to take those pills. Look at these news articles. They say those pills are dangerous, she whimpered, showing me her phone. So she knew. She knew they were scams, yet in my past life, she told my sister that if I hadn't stopped her, my sister would have been a boy. I treated her as my closest ally, a fellow victim of this family. I fought her battles, and she sacrificed me without hesitation. Good. Very good. I smiled slightly and raised my voice. Mom, how can you believe the media? They write nonsense all the time. I walked out of the room shouting, Grandma, come quick. Mom doesn't want to take the pills. Mom couldn't stop me in time. Grandma rushed in hearing my shout. I shoved the phone in Grandma's face. Grandma, look! Mom is reading this garbage because she doesn't want to take the pills. She doesn't want a son. Grandma was illiterate, but she squinted at the phone anyway. Mom, no. It was Penny who told me this. She's always scheming. How would I know about this stuff? Mom immediately tried to throw me under the bus. I widened my eyes innocently and pulled out my old Nokia phone, playing the recording I had just made. The recording stopped right before her accusation. Mom was speechless. For the sake of the grandson in her belly, Grandma didn't scold Mom too much, just gave her a death